Video, you're going to learn how to have success in the Asea business. Now, network marketing is a business model that the masses will tell you doesn't work, and most likely it's because it didn't work for them. And if they were honest with themselves, they would probably actually say that they didn't work it properly. When I joined this industry over 9 years ago, I said, I want to talk to the people that made it, the ones that have had success. I'm not interested in the opinions of people that have not had success with it because it's clearly working, right? This is an industry that's done over 200 billion in revenue in 2022. And so clearly some people have figured out how to have success. And what I want to do for you all is put you at the same table, get you around the people, have the conversations that I've been privileged to have over the years so you can gain some insight and see, look, there's nothing different about this. These are average people that just made a decision, learned a certain skill set, and were able to create a massive change in their family and for their family's lives. If they did it, I promise you, you can do it. And this conversation with Asea Diamond, Laura Lur, I think will allow you to see that just anyone that makes a decision that wants a different life for themselves and their family can do that here at Asea. Well, welcome everybody. And Laura, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for your invitation.
Yeah, of course. So as we just kick things off, will you share with everybody a little bit about your background, where you live, because it's morning for you, it's evening for me. We're on opposite sides of the world, and I'm grateful that we could figure out our time zones to get this started. But I'd love for you to just give your background to everybody.
Right. So I've always come from the nonprofit sector, and I'm a trained social worker. I have lived in Singapore my whole life, but people ask me, why do I speak the way I speak? I never spoke English till I was 10.
Oh, wow.
But my aunt exposed me to an expatriates group in Singapore running a running club, and when I was 10. So that's an immersion program. And that's
Huh.
when I picked up a mishmash of accents. So I don't know what accent I have. I just know that my friends say, oh, and you switch accents too. If you're in India or in Indonesia or in Japan, then or in Nepal, and then it has a different slant to it. And Dr. David Silverman has heard that, and he's got to laugh about that as well. So I've got no experience at all doing business. My heart is really to serve the forgotten, the downtrodden, the invisible class. And I guess that's why I went into social work. So I have always been in the nonprofit sector, doing humanitarian work, working with World Vision in the past, and then being based in Singapore, but traveling around Asia, raising support for community development and working with governments on their policies regarding charities and so on. Yeah.
Oh, you have an incredible heart, and you're also a mom, yes?
Yes, I'm mom to two. My older girl is 11, turning 12 in a couple of weeks, and my little boy is 8. And they're no strangers to people who are different from us, like migrant workers. We have a lot in Singapore. Singapore is supported actually by, I think, a fifth of our population is actually people from outside of countries. They're not
Really?
citizens, but they work here in Singapore, and they come from Bangladesh, India, Nepal,
Mhm.
Burma, or Myanmar, China, and Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and so on. So in the housing estate where we live in, and it's public, we have people of different cultures coming together. It's all a melting pot, and it's very common for people to mix words from different cultures. And my daughter's first foreign word, besides her mother tongue, which is Chinese, was actually Vanakam. Vanakam is Tamil for hello.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's incredible. I'm always so amazed by people that can speak multiple languages. My boyfriend does, and I'm trying to learn. And I wish when I was younger I had been immersed in it because I think it's easier to pick up. But still, just learning now, I didn't realize you were already 10 before you started to pick up English, which is incredible.
yeah, so you definitely have a chance to catch up.
Yeah,
Never too late.
I can. Well,
Yeah, I
talk to me,
speak I
Laura.
speak about a simple sorry, I speak about a simple 20 about 20 simple greetings in different languages.
Mm,
Yeah.
smart.
So that because to me, when you speak to someone in their heart language, like just a simple greeting,
Yeah.
it connects you immensely more than anything because it shows that you honor my culture, you know my language. And to me, that's important. So names and the language that the person speaks, these are the first things that I would ask. If I don't know that language, then I will ask them, oh, how do you say hello in your language? So it makes me want to learn from them. And then they feel like, they've been given that dignity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's the first thing whenever I travel, I always try to figure out how do you say hello, goodbye, and thank you. In the native language. Just you see it. I love that you called it the heart language because it is. You watch people just go, oh, they open to you when you do that, when you're traveling. So, beautiful tip. Thank you for sharing that. So let's dive into the Asea world. Tell me how and why did Asea catch your attention?
When Edwina first brought it to me, I really was scratching my head and I'm like, I'm not interested. But at that point in time, all she knew was I had some issues with my daughter's skin challenges and food allergens. And I was looking for a solution, but not very much money in my pocket. She didn't know that, but she still brought it to me. And I figured, oh, there's a money back guarantee. Okay, I could look at that. But I could look at that, and then I was asking her the hard questions like, should I be a customer? Should I be an associate? What's an associate? What does it do? What is MLM? What is network marketing? What are they doing? And I'm like, it smells shoddy to me. I'm like, I don't really like this, the reputation that they have. But she said, why don't you come and meet them? So Justin Wilson at the point in time, and I think it was Carl Anderson. So
Oh,
some of the corporate staff came down to Singapore before the market opened, and then she said, "That's just a meeting. Come meet people." And I took the opportunity. I'm known to be the questions woman, or in Chinese and Cantonese, the problematic youth. Or it could be read the other way, the youth with many questions. Because yeah. So I was happily asking people questions and listening out, observing people, how they were interacting with each other. And I found the transparency refreshing,
Mm.
unusual. And I remember what Justin Wilson said at that meeting. He was the VP of sales at that point in time. He said, network marketing will meet you where you are and take you to where you want to be. And then I'm like, I have no clue what you just say, but how can you meet me where I am right now when I'm really like 3 digit left in my savings? I don't know whether I can even afford that one box of Asea,
Yeah.
but it has come true in the months that unfolded. And now it's been 6 years since I've used Redox. And truly, truly, I believe in that now. And it all makes a lot of sense. So I'm truly grateful for the people. And I remember the first time when they actually did launch it in Singapore, the soft launch. And then there was this big burly guy behind, and obviously he's not Singaporean. He just sat at the back in his suit, very friendly, just smiled at me. And then I'm like, okay, hello. And then I sat down. And then when he went up to speak, I'm like, oh, that's the big boss. That's Tyler North.
Oh, wow.
And I was blown away by his statement. He said, if your sister tells you no, you leave her alone.
Hmm.
I'm like, what? Aren't you going to persuade her more? No. I'm like, oh, wow, you honor people's choices. And I'm like, I was blown away by that. That nobody at Asea ever asked me, please buy something, please try it. No. In fact, they said, please consider it very carefully. All you need to know, all you need to do now is to be aware, to know.
Yeah.
And I felt so respected. I felt like nobody was pushing anything. And
Hmm.
it became a more attractive option because it pulled me to want to know more. Why aren't they different in their approach? And I have grown to love Asea more and more each day.
Yeah. It's been beautiful to witness your evolution with it all. And I want to go back. So everyone understands this. Laura had no understanding of network marketing, didn't really understand what it was when it was brought to her. And as she just said, was sort of pulled into this going, wait, there's something unique happening here. I feel good here. People are respecting, honoring my agency. But talk to me about the shift you made. So of course you decided to use the products, but when did you decide to start sharing it with others and really looking more at the business side of things? Like Justin said, it could take you where you wanted to go. When did you start to kind of dream about maybe a better life for your family financially through Asea?
Right. So after I was using it with my girl, and it's a roller coaster. I want to be honest with everyone because everybody hears people's testimonials and they're very tempted to think, oh, like this. But
Right.
everybody's story is different and there are compound benefits. Some things change, and I was taking it together with her just so to observe if there's something wrong, if as a mom, I could make sure that if it's not safe, it's not effective, then I would stop her from using it. But the amazing thing was something shifted in my own health. And I'm like, that issue has been going on for 11 years. And my gynecologist was the one who alerted me to that. And then I thought, okay, so not just for skin issues, but hormonal issues as well. And also first aid for my little boy. And then I, of course, just wanted to tell only the people that I'm close to, like my mom,
Mhm.
because it would be weird to tell my friends. They're like, you're an expert in social work, but not an expert in,
Right.
this technology, overnight. But I think that the science was valid to me, and my parents had always wanted me to be a doctor. And to their disappointment, I became a
Oh,
social worker because a doctor is very profitable, but a social worker is not profitable.
oh yeah.
But in the economies of scale, in that sense, I think the work that in social work is a lot more meaningful.
Yeah.
And the medical knowledge in that sense acquired wasn't wasted because then when I looked into the medical journals on PubMed and so on and so forth, a lot of it made sense to me about redox being fundamental to cellular health and homeostasis. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh wow, somebody has actually done the impossible in what I've started, like 20 years ago. And when I saw that it was meeting our needs in different ways in terms of health wise, and I said, okay, I could tell one person a week about it, just one, because I have no time. I have to look after my two kids. They were 6 and 3 at that time.
Yeah.
But every month I noticed that, and these were all customers. They were not associates, had no idea about binary qualified organizations, no idea what they're talking about. All
Yeah.
I knew was I wanted my friends to see the benefits and I would make sure that they were taken care of. So one by one, they came back and they said, yeah, I'm seeing these changes. Thank you so much for telling me. And I'm like, okay, you sure you don't need the money back guarantee? Okay, fine. And every month, my um, pocket money or household income supplement increased by $50, $100. So it's like arithmetic progression, right? AP
Yep.
50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. Until 6 months later, I was like, you know what? I'm more than covering my product usage. So I covered my product usage within the first 2 months. And then
Mhm.
by the 6th month, it was like my mom-in-law asked me, why don't you go work part-time? And I'm like, you know what, mom, I'm actually kind of doing that. I'm doing flexi time. 3 hours a week maximum is all I do at my own time, own pace, own target. No, but nobody's scheduled to follow, nobody's sales quota or volumes to meet, nobody barking at me, why are you not doing anything? But as and when I could, I just sent a text to a friend, would you like to know? And I was making something like 700 US dollars,
Wow.
and I thought, that's not bad. I mean, McDonald's is not going to pay me that amount of money.
Yep.
And I can't say, oh, the weather's not good today. My son's not well. I'm not coming in. I don't feel like,
Yep.
or I need to cook. I need to boil my soup. But, with this, it was so easy. I could be at home and still work. Even today, just the person I visited for breakfast, and she asked me, are you working today? I'm like, oh, it's easy. I just have to do it on my phone. She's like, wow, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. And it sounds, you make it sound great, right? That it happens, but I know there are struggles. So talk to us a little bit about that struggle from, okay, starting, sharing with some friends, getting some customers, but there is a transition into then having maybe someone that wants to build a business and they're thinking about also sharing. And then you have to figure out, well, how do I help them? And, how do I help this organization that's now growing beyond myself? Like, what are some of the struggles that you've run into?
Okay, so Edwina has watched me fall many times on my face.
We all do.
So I have a first customer, and then the first customer says, I want a refund. I'm like, so fast? You didn't even like try it for like a week. And then I'm like, okay, what's happening? So refund. And then after that, somebody else tries, and then they're like, I'm having a bad, like this is giving me bad stuff. It's something wrong with this product. I'm like, again? And it fell flat. And then she's like just watching, okay, how many times can this girl fall and pick herself up? And we'll see whether she's really in for the business, right? I mean, but in any case, she never thought I would do the business. I never thought I would do the business. So fell. And then to me, the worst was, sharing with some people, right? This is really common. And then guess what? They buy it from their friends. And I'm like, what? I did the work and somebody else gets to pick the fruit. But I've learned along the way that, we are all on that journey. And even if I were not to harvest that fruit, I don't want to ruin the fruit for somebody else.
Yeah.
And we truly believe that every person that comes into our team is handpicked. And if they're not meant to be, then it's okay. But I also learn along the way to be upfront, because in the beginning, when people ask, are you selling this? I'm like, I don't like the word selling. No, I'm not selling this. I'm just educating people. And they're like, okay, well, if you're not selling, I look for somebody who's selling it. Right. So that's one.
Yeah. That's
Second thing, then they say, are you marketing it? I'm like, not really marketing it, but I've learned, okay, I do have a website if you want to go to purchase it, and then I've later on learned as well to tell them, you can find this on other platforms like third parties, but you shouldn't go there because because of these reasons. And that, you really want to get the support. So giving them the reasons to want to be under our care, that is something I've learned along the way. But one of the greatest, I would say the biggest struggle for me is my pet peeve is being misunderstood. Because to me, I've gone out with all of my heart to want to take care of you, and with no money interest at all in my mind. I mean, even if there was no money involved, I would still share Asea. Actually, that was like the audition question that Awina would ask for her team. If there's no money in this, would you still join? I said, oh, of course. I mean, it's the good stuff. And she said, okay, then you can be in my team. If you say, oh, yeah, I want it for the money, I want to share it. And she's like, oh, I don't want you in my team. But, the money does come along. I mean, when you take care of people, you help them succeed in a sense. But I think the hardest part for me, one of the biggest struggles that Awina witnessed was somebody who wanted to be an associate, and she had gone in with her eyes open, and Edwina was there. This person's mom was there, and she was the mother of my son's classmate. And so when she, bought everything, she was very excited. Some people in the family got results, but then she had a bad detox, and then she started wanting to return the products. And then I was helping her with it, but because of I would say a lot of things were at play, but my husband gave a very wise advice. He said, you know what, when you were talking to support, advocating for her refund, she was not in the loop. So now in hindsight, anybody having any situation like that, I would suggest merge the call so that they can hear what we said to support. Because it's like, especially if you're not on very close terms, then they said, well, you said whatever you like, but I don't know what you said to them. And they told me something else. So it's like back and forth. It was really, really brewing. And he said, well, if she didn't have the support of her husband as well, most men would think you've been scammed.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was how she felt. And to me, I was very, I was sad. I was so sad that she misunderstood that. And she said, she turned around and she said, you were just out to cheat me on my money. And I'm like, oh God, I really never thought of that at all. I mean, you were not even on my radar to share this, but you were asking me what I did, what I used for my kids, and I shared that with you. And but I thank God for protecting my heart, and I managed to speak with her and her mom and clarify things. And in the end, I thank God that her mom actually said, I think you've actually done your part to want to really look out for her interests. And I'm sorry that, things didn't work out, but, thank you. Yeah. So at least, that was something, but I was praying that their marriage will be protected. We still, I don't hold anything against her. I wanted to not have any bitterness at all, but it was very crushing. And for a time, it felt like I'm not going to share with anybody else because, I don't want to be misunderstood again.
Yeah.
But the people that needed it and the people who did see a difference, the people who are actively searching for a solution, I cannot let them be just because of one or two what we would call, whether it's rotten apples or people who had a bad day or just and I learned the golden lesson for me was not everybody is going to have a positive experience with me, and I am not at fault in that sense, but it just is. I mean, on some days, we have a rough day, we wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and we don't have a good experience with somebody else as well, but that doesn't make them bad. So when I could come to terms with that and breathe and say, I'm ready to start afresh, then I could put this behind me and not have, something at the back of my mind weigh me down and say, what if this happens again? Well, yeah, it could happen again, but so what? There's so many people who actually need to hear about this. And I would be doing them a disservice if I just kept quiet because I didn't want to be hurt. And I don't think that's a fair thing to them or their families or the generations that come after them.
Mm. Laura, there's so much in what you just said, like so many things. And I thank you for being so honest and real. And I think this is the struggle that I think people don't realize sometimes has to happen in a business like this, because there is an interesting blend of personal and professional here, because you have to come into this business and connect with people in the heart space, from a space of wanting to share, wanting to help someone. And when you come in with such a genuine, pure spirit and are met with that intensity, it can hurt. It can really hurt. I've watched it shut down a lot of people that did not have the support system perhaps that you had, or didn't have, the insights, the knowledge that you had, the faith that you have, and it shuts them down. And I thank you for sharing that, because I want to be honest with everyone watching, like, this business does take a little bit of growth, internal growth. The hardest part is that it's people business. The best part is that it's a people business. It's like this interesting thing that we have to navigate. And I would put forth, though, that, learning that, I'm sure it's helped you in other avenues. It's like learning to work with people, to understand people, to connect with people, to love with an open heart, no matter what. It just makes life better in general. I think that, to me, has been one of the beautiful lessons of being part of Asea, is it's taught me just to how to connect and be a better human being in all circumstances, because you just never know. And when you stick around long enough, you
Right.
realize, oh, it wasn't me. It was, they were having a bad day. Or maybe it was me in this situation. I was having a bad day. Like, there's a lot of self-reflection in this business, isn't there?
Yes, the introspection is amazing and thought-provoking and transformational. I was so impressed with support because a lot of them are young people in their 20s and they exhibited a kind of maturity. I was very impressed with ASEA because as an organization, I saw the successful cascading of values, the value of that compassion and love drive what we do. There is a culture of honor, and it's not just Tyler who's walking the talk. It's not just the field leader saying that, but even right down at customer support, which is the frontline staff,
Yeah.
they were able to show that grace. And the person I remember she was sharing, she said, I never know what struggles that person is dealing with. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Mm.
They may be showing me their worst side, but I have yet to see their best side. And I
Mm.
thought she spoke with such wisdom beyond her age. And the kind of support that I had from the support team when I called in, a lot of learning. I asked them lots of questions, and they were just so free to give that to me to make sure that I had all my questions answered. And truly, truly just saying that, yeah, we're going to make sure that people come first, and it's never about money or so it's, yeah, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The P over E, right? That is the principle of the
Yes,
company's
yes.
ethos, that the people, principles, purpose, above ego, above economics. I remember learning that. It was one of my first exposures to ASEA, and I thought, that sounds incredible. Like, my heart opened when I heard that. But then I went, but is it like real? Like, do they actually mean it? And they do. Like, it's time and time again. I've had the
Yes.
same experiences as you. It doesn't matter if I'm, meeting one of the researchers that's part of ASEA, or talking to customer support, or whatever it might be. So we're blessed to be part of an incredible
Very, very
incredible
fast.
organization.
That's right. And I was just having a talk and a session with some of my new associates and some of their customers, and they were just they said it's so different hearing what Tyler shares. I've never heard anything like that before. I've never heard anyone who's spoke like that before. And it's the same. Every guest that I bring for events who hear Tyler, they will just say, he just connects with people in such a genuine way. He humbles himself, he brings himself to your level, and he speaks with clarity. He speaks with such a refreshing perspective
Yes.
and that respect and that dignity. And it makes me so proud to be associated with this family. Um, and yeah, you were mentioning about the different stages of growth. So when you've come across that hurdle, but then like you said, also growing as an organization. I mean, to me, I've always been more a follower rather than a leader, and I wasn't exactly comfortable with that. I thought, just tell me what to do and then I'll do it and I'll implement it, but don't make me think more. But this is where it stretches us, right?
Yes.
And I think that has also changed the way that I lead with my children as well. And it's given me that space and that capacity to want to be more. I think we talk about having belief in the product, definitely this belief in the product, there's belief in the company and its values,
Mhm.
belief in what we do, the purpose, but also the belief in yourself. I mean, that was a real struggle for me because in the Asian society, you have to be humble. There's no room for pride. I mean, my parents make sure that, they knocked that down and drummed that into me and rammed it down hard, so that you don't get your head puffed up. So it was very, very uncomfortable receiving the recognition or the affirmation. And I'm like, no, 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 we don't need this award. We don't need that rank or, whatever. And I hesitated to go up on stage. I didn't want to go for convention because I don't want to receive my award. I don't want to go
Oh,
on
wow.
stage. It's like it's more than stage fright. It's like, no, 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 that's not me. I
Wow.
cannot receive the recognition, but having that space and to say that, yes, I have done well in this area. And if this doing well will encourage somebody else who's just a step behind me and saying, is that really where I want to go? And to do it from a position of honesty, of integrity, of authenticity. I think, yeah, from that perspective, I told Edwina, then I will receive that award because it will encourage my team that anyone can do this, because I wasn't planning on going diamond. All my intention was to help people, help people, help people. And yeah, so that was a lot of work that had to go on and change paradigms in my own thinking, and seeing how that could still be a congruent part of me and resonate with my values without crossing some of these cultural identity stuff.
Hmm. Hmm. That's huge. It's the becoming process. I mean, there's so much. This is the inner stuff that I think, right? I think it's Terry Latham, one of our colleagues. He always says, "You see the glory, but you don't know the story." And this is why I love having these conversations, because there's so much that goes behind growth in a business like this. And I think it's important to shine a light on it. So as we kind of come to a close here, Laura, what advice would you give somebody that's looking into this, that's seen, I think I want to get started. Maybe they had no experience like yourself, like myself. What would you say to somebody that's new at this and wanting to begin?
Right. So don't worry about whether it's customers or associates, whatever people's choices would, we respect that. And it's perfect place to start from customer. That's where I started with, right? And they can always convert later on to an associate, but we really want to meet them where they are comfortable and then work with them so that they do experience the products in a very real and tangible way. If they don't have that experience, we could also encourage them and say, rather than waiting you for yourself, because you might be healthy and not see a great change, work on it with someone else. Try the gel on 10 other people, like David always says, or
Mhm.
use somebody else's story from your team and share that story. And it has to be, and less is more, so talk less, listen more. And I think one of the things that I wish, actually I was looking for that when I first started. It was like people always say, you need to ask the right questions. And I'm like, so what are the right questions?
Right.
And this art of asking questions is really an art and a skill itself. So
Mhm.
over the years, learning to listen a lot, what are people's pain points? What are their motivations? And keeping that conversation going. So it's not like vomiting all the stuff about redox and everything that I know, but we're not in convincing position. It's just piquing interest, very interested in what they are doing, what they like, and where their heart is. And then from there, if there is a space where we can interject and say, oh yeah, I'm using this thing, I saw this change, or would you like to know? And just leaving it really open ended. If it's a no, then respect that and carry on the conversation with other topics, but
Yep.
always keeping that conversation going over the years. So I wish I had known what better questions to ask, and to be really patient and gentle with yourself, and to say that not all that is accomplished in one day. In fact, they always use this word, we were trying to come to a close. We're trying to come to close, but no, that is the opening. That's the beginning. When you close, somebody enrolls, it's really the beginning. It's opening up the doorway to
I
many,
love
many
that.
more conversations. And yeah, so having that, mindset to really be blessing other people, because we've been so blessed. That would be the advice that I would give, and not to worry about understanding the compensation plan. Well, like Ellen always says, don't worry about the credit. The bank will credit you with that. Credit doesn't have to go to yourself. And yeah, it's not about the rank, but yeah, I never worried about my rank. I was more concerned about what was in my bank. So,
Mhm.
and I don't have to figure out how the system pays me, because the system will do it. And I know Asea has more often overpaid rather than underpaid anyone. I can trust the system, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, Laura, it's such a pleasure. And I think one of the beautiful blessings of this business is getting to meet people from all over the world, all walks of life that have a similar heart, are on a similar journey. And I appreciate you so much for literally all that you do for ASEA over there, for the person that you are, for the heart you bring to everything. And you are an incredible leader. I know that perhaps you don't see it within yourself. I believe you're seeing it more and more. And I'm incredibly proud of all that you've done, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you and sharing ASEA for decades to come.
Well, you were my inspiration when I'm like, this young woman, I mean, she's so young, but she's seen such a big transformation. And wow, now I can call her my friend. I know Danielle Matthews. Yeah, yeah, the one in the video. And yeah, but to see you and your mom, especially, and all the
Mm.
good people at SIA having that same kindred spirit, with that same focus to want to bring this to the world, because people do deserve to know about this. That has been an incredible experience for me, and such a joy. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming into my world.
Oh, it's appreciated on this end too. Well, have a beautiful day, Laura, and we'll catch up again soon.